America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sanderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Labuda?
Here.
Ms. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Ruiz?
Here.
Mrs. Geiger? Mrs. Edwards?
Here.
Mr. Benson?
Here.
Mr. Steingart?
Here.
Mr. Sorensen?
Here.
Okay. Ready for the reading of public notice?
Notice is hereby given that the county legislature of the county of Sullivan, New York will meet the legislative chambers of the Sullivan County Government Center, Monticello, New York on Tuesday, December 10, 2013 at 5:30 p.m. and Thursday, December 19, 2013 at 1:30 p.m. for the purpose of holding public hearings on the tentative budget of said county for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2014. Further notice is given that copies of said tentative budget are available at the office of the county manager, Sullivan County Government Center, Monticello, New York, where they may be inspected and procured by an interested person during business hours. Pursuant to section 359 of the county law, the maximum salaries that may be fixed and payable during the fiscal year to the members of the county legislature and to the chairman thereof, respectively, are hereby specified as follows. County legislator, 22,600. Chair of the county legislature, 31,600.
Okay, thank you. Okay, public comment. We have two people signed up. Has everybody signed up who's wanted to sign up? Ken Walter?
Good afternoon. First, I gotta commend you on able to bring it within the 2% cap that you set out to do, you had to do, and figuring out how to do that. I give it some thought in watching this over 3 years with a 2% cap and what it has done to not only Sullivan County, but it's really doing to everybody in the state. It's become an economic stimulus in reverse. And how do I explain that? All that money that's been in reserves funds throughout the state and all those government entities that have been tapped to stay within the 2% cap when it was most feasible has been drawn out, and therefore I didn't have to pay more in taxes, so I had more money to spend on the street, so to speak. But it's really forcing everybody into a corner, and it's really forcing us into a corner because next year we have some really bigger issues that we got to address. One we all have been talking about is jail, and we also have to talk about public safety in more ways than one. But I congratulate you on being able to bring it in within the 2% cap, and I've watched you work at it, and serious discussion, and you all figured it out. Thank you.
Thank you. David Page?
Good afternoon. My name is David Page. I'm a resident of Sullivan County full-time since 1968. Currently live in Rock Hill. Prior to that, I lived in Mountaindale and Woodridge. During the course of the past years, I've had incidents with regard to robbery, with regard to having people that work for me being robbed, and it wasn't pleasant. What happened when I was in Mountaindale, the first instance was, of course, they stole my car in front of my office. The second incident was that they took a safe out of the convenience store that I operated, and they got away with it, and then finally dumped it in a lake not too far away from the office, about a mile. We recovered the safe, of course, not the goods that were in it, and the person went to jail. The third instance was in Mountaindale. I had a clerk in the evening, worked from, I would say, 5 to 11, and someone came in, hit her over the head with a baseball bat, took the money out of the cash register, and went away. Unfortunately for that person is that someone recognized them. They chased them through Mountaindale, and the Fallsburg police found them in a basement, and he also went away. Since I've lived in Rock Hill, I've had 2 incidents. One was that a bunch of young children came to my yard where I have office trailers and busted out 26 windows in the office trailers. The second incident was just recently, was that I was robbed internally by one of my people for $1,450. I'm bringing this to your attention because in Mountaindale and in Woodridge, what happened was that the Policemen did respond immediately. Didn't help anybody from what had happened, but they responded and they took care of the problem. With regard to my instance in Rock Hill, it was one in which the sheriff responded, took some information, but couldn't respond again because he didn't have time to do that. I have to tell you, my background was that I've been school board president of the Fallbrook School System for 6 years. I was a trustee for the Village of Woodridge, and I'm currently vice president for the Emerald Green Homeowners Association. I bring this to your attention for many reasons. I've been reading in the newspaper, as everybody else has, about robberies and about there was an ambush of the sheriffs just recently, and I kind of think about this in the way it is going to be what it is because of the economy. We all know that the economy is down, robbery and crime increases. But that's no excuse because we have to protect the people here, the students here, and everybody who owns a business. I find there's a problem, as I spoke to other people, about response. Is that sometimes there is response, sometimes there isn't response, and I wonder why. So I had called the sheriff to find out. He tells me that there's only 2 cars available for the sheriff's department in the evenings, and that it goes over a 911 system, and 911 is the state police, but if they don't have anybody in the area, they don't respond either. So I've been thinking about this and thinking about it. Here's the problem. If you're a committed criminal and you want to go about and do your business and everything else like it, and you want to get money, as you do as a criminal, you have to do something which is not legal. So what you do is, and if you're sophisticated enough, you can have a scanner, or you can have someone make a call into 911, directing them to the western part of the county. Now, there's 400 miles in Sullivan County, 94 square miles in Sullivan County. So if you send a car out there with 2 men, or 2 cars out there with 1 man each, and they know they're going to be deterred because they have to go out there and they have to do with the investigations or whatever it be, is that they'll be out there for a while. Meanwhile, they can go down to Robert Green and take tires off of cars. Meanwhile, they can go someplace else and hit somebody else. So in actuality, it's not really the safest thing going, and it's costing us all money. So what do? The question is, and I know the budget is tight and you don't have money to go here, money to go there. I know when I was in the school board or the village board, we would look at the budget and say, okay, let's take 100,000 from here or 50,000 from there so we can make this thing work. If the budget is that tight and you don't have any wiggle room to get the money yet, we have to figure out a way to do that. Because what happens with it is that if you have an ambush of officers someplace and the officer is killed, how much is that going to cost you? Not only an aggravation, but the families, and just the appearance that you don't have protection for your people that are officers in this community, which is not really good. We realize that there's a big budget for the sheriff's department, but a lot of it is for civil workers and for the jail and for other things other than the patrol, and that's where you need the help in the patrol. So I would work some numbers out with regard to seeing some of the budget or whatever it is, and just approximated it basically on $1.7 million, I think it was, that I worked numbers out, and came across that in actuality, if we figured a $100,000 individual, like a sheriff with his benefits, it would cost you, naturally, as a taxpayer, approximately $1.85 a year with the taxes for that one deputy. Multiply by 5, see what you got. You got $10 a year. Now, I don't know of anybody in this county, and I represent, as vice president of the Homeowners Association Emerald Green, 600 homes, contributing about $8 million in taxes. I don't know of anybody that would say to me, well, we're not going to give you $2 extra a year. We're not going to give you $10 extra a year. For the security purposes alone, just for the safety of mind and for feeling better about themselves, that would be an okay. We do have things going on in Emerald Green which we couldn't get a response to. We have drugs being sold right on the street, right at the pool area, in the evenings, every single summer. In the middle of the evenings, quietest time, nobody knows you're going to be there. But the neighbors who live there have told me, have told the president of the board, that cars stop there, things go on, and boom, they get out of the area. So I'm appealing to you and your sensibility and your knowledge of what's going on here, to look at the budgets keenly and to determine if you can do this. I know there's going to be 3 people that are getting out of school, that are in school right now for sheriffs, with training of a sheriff, but they're not anything more than replacement of people that have left the sheriff's department. It takes 6 months for someone to be trained, and we all know that things are gonna be happening in Sullivan County in a very short period of time. Whether they start with a shovel in the ground, which isn't crime, whatever it is, or they start with a boom someplace in town, that doesn't mean they won't need the sheriff or police protection, only because there'll be accidents, there'll be problems, there'll be everything else you can think of, including congestion. So I'm asking you to look keenly at this and to determine if you can and will offer more money towards the sheriff's department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you submit those calculations to our management office so that we can look at those figures you gave?
Sure. Who's the manager office?
Josh, or, county manager, Josh.
Still acting until we call.
People about.
Yeah.
Could
Just you can
give
give it to
it
the clerk.
Yeah.
Josh,
Yeah.
the gentleman on the.
Or, I'm sorry, the
table.
clerk.
Yeah, just give it to the clerk. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who would like to comment on the budget? Okay. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Jonathan?
Or.
All in favor? We will reconvene at 2 o'clock for the full board meeting.